an average Indian grows up, which tells him or her 2 plus 2 can be 15 minutes. Best way is, see, this is the way, right? Right now I'm demonstrating. They could have said, but this is being polite. Because I'm the speaker, I'm in the podium. So the best way to write and send it. Could have said 15 minutes. The idea is, they think I might get apprehended. Or I might have some apprehensions. In America they will say 15 minutes, that's it. Neither the speaker nor the people who is telling me get apprehended. There's nothing right or wrong about it. That's the way we behave. So, this is, abstract thinking is, that is what the West thinks. If this happens, this will be the result. Associative thinking is all that. My good friend, I heard this word so many times, Professor Rishikesh Krishnan, Professor of Strategy in IIM Bangalore, he wrote this great book called From Jugaad to Strategic Innovation. If you have not read this book, I recommend this. I was there when we released the book last year. Phenomenal book. From Jugaad to Strategic Innovation. Jugaad. So we are able to think from 1 to 2, 2 to 7, 7 to 144. A Western thinking is very focused. And that has consequences. So this is a big difference between the way we think. And probably Daniel Pink, who is my favorite author, he talks about in his book, the right brain is going to prevail. He says 21st century, and 21st century is going to be time, till 20th century it is the left brain which ruled out. In 21st century, it is the right brain which is going to rule out. You read this book, it's a phenomenal book on creativity, and he talks how the nation is progressing, and he says, therefore associative thinking is going to work. And that's the reason it's not by a chance. 35% of the faculty members in Harvard Business School today are of Indian origin. And I don't believe it's chance. It has a pattern. Because in today's world, you should need, as a manager, your ability to deal with ambiguity. Because in 21st century, the biggest capability of a manager will be how to deal with ambiguity. And that's where we are going to do. That's why Indians in America is doing so well, or any other countries. Because we know how to deal with ambiguity. Can you go to the next? So, there are coming on Jagger, developing countries, including India, is relatively low on abstractive thinking and relatively high on associative thinking. Possibly that's the reason our eye for details is not as good as a Westerner. But on the other hand, our ability to look at the large picture, we might miss the trees for the forest. But our ability to see the forest is much bigger than a Westerner. Next. Very quickly, two things I will talk about. Can you go? Next. The first one is everybody talks about. Now I will very quickly come to the subject. If you really look at motivation theory, McClelland is known all over the world for work on achievement motivation. But how many of you know the Parag Mehta's phenomenal work, which is called social achievement theory? And I'm sure in management school they don't teach. They teach McClelland, which is valid in Western countries. Nobody talks about Parag Mehta, who came out with this concept way back in 1970. That's the time Dr. Parag Mehta did his work, and he came out with this concept of what is called social achievement theory. The same kind of a thing, but in the context of society. See how relevant it is. And if social achievement theory would have not worked, you would have not got Mehta Parker or Rajendra Singh. They have the same kind of a thing, but they think of changing the society, not an organization. You can understand achievement motivation theory and McClelland, and you can explain a behavior in a Procter & Gamble or Unilever or any other multinational company. But if you have to understand and explain why does Mehta Parker does what she does, you have to understand social achievement theory, and then you say, oh my God, it works. The next, the last point, because obviously, can I go to the next? And the last one is a phenomenal work of Dr. Pradeep Khandwala, ex-director of IIM Ahmedabad, perhaps one of the best behavioral scientists in India. And Pradeep Khandwala talked about PI motive. Phenomenal work. It's called Pioneering Innovative Motivation. I work with large number of IT guys. I coach large number of young CEOs. I work with many PE funds and train or coach the young CEOs. At least 3 of them I'm currently working on. And I would have never understood had I not understood pioneering motivation motive. Because that's not in Western literature. That's pure Pradeep Khandwala's work. He said, this is a motivation, and if you want to come an IT industry and see these young entrepreneurs, you have to see this behavior. This is growing India. They're creating great organization. I won't talk about a CEO who is very much in the news these days. My only thing I keep on telling him, you are too much in the news, so don't get caught. I won't tell his name, right? Because his organization has got the top 50 innovative award in the recent past. Very humble guy, 11 years experience, 2000 pass out, runs an organization of about 350 people. But he has a pioneering innovation motive. Pradeep Khandwala said, pioneering means the first person. And innovation I don't have to explain. Right? You have to have. And when he was doing and developing this instrument, in his batch there was one student in his class who was the highest PI motive. And that student every one of you know. But not as a management guy. You know he is a management guy. His name is Harsha Bobir. See, I'm not telling you stories. Behaviors need to be researched. And there are reasons why do I behave the way I behave. So pioneering innovation motive is very important for making India a superpower. Why I am talking about this? Because this has a very close resemblance to the theme of this conference. And when I meet these young entrepreneurs who are about 8, 10, 12 years CEOs, I work with them, they're very different than the traditional CEOs for which I get my money, my salary. They're very different. They want to create a big impact. I call it making an intellectual legacy. These people are after intellectual legacy. An intellectual legacy stays longer. In earlier days, if you see the history, the Mughals, why the Mughals are the way the Mughals? Because you see the architecture. Even today's politicians create big statues of themselves. But these people are for intellectual legacy.